Yay.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, fam? Happy Sunday.
Get back in here so you can see me.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Happy Sunday.
Coffee chat time. We are ready.
We're actually ready.
This time.
We're a little late, but
no
we're
technical
still ready-ish.
difficulties.
5 minutes late, but no technical difficulties.
Hey, look at this. I didn't even plan it this way, but
Pink and pink.
I'm using a different coffee mug and I'm wearing my pink. It's all about the pink today. I can feel your laser eyes looking at me and I'm not responding.
And we are going to move on. So what's up? Anything anybody needs to know about stuff that's going on with us right now?
Well, we in the Keto Bikini Academy are in our last week of our current training program because we have a new one launching. New training program starts next Monday, March 3rd. So if you're watching this end of February, it has not begun yet, and you can dive in with us. Even if, you dive in the first week or two, you still have plenty of time with the new program. It will be 8 full weeks plus a 9th week for deloading. Or if you need to deload some time within the program, which we talk a lot about, doing intuitive training and intuitive deloads when you need them. So new program is called Spring Forward because in a couple of weeks, we're springing forward. So it has multiple meanings. Springing, there's a little bit more spring in the step of this program. It incorporates a little more, what?
You're such a dork.
I wonder where I get the punny.
Where do you get the punny?
I wonder why I get so
You're
punny.
so punny.
Yeah, so we're doing a little functional fitness in this one.
Eyelash.
Along with our regular strength training, strength hypertrophy focus for bodybuilding. So spring, it's, not quite summer yet, but y'all, if you want to get in shape for summer, don't wait till summer to start. So you can dive in with us if you are not yet in the academy. Everybody does that though. It's like,
summer.
I have a vacation in 2 weeks. Now let me crash diet and no bueno. So
no bueno.
New program launching March 3rd. Come join us in the academy. If you have questions, DM me on Instagram, drop a comment on YouTube, or you can check out my website, nataliejgrasso.com.
This isn't
Keto
something
Bikini Academy.
That was initially in the idea of my head of what we were talking about today. That idea I had in my head, but I think this goes into it.
Okay.
Join her program. Join a program. And we're going to talk about why, because many of you are stuck because you don't have what we're going to talk about in the context of simplicity versus complexity and overthinking and overcomplicating things.
Yes.
Many of you are stuck where you are because you've got this mindset of, I can do it, I can figure it out on my own. And it's not working, and you're still just trying to figure it out on your own, and it's not working, and you're still trying to figure out. If you would just be humble, acknowledge where you are, and then ask for help, that's a huge, huge, huge piece of how you can make this whole process a lot easier and more simple. But we'll get into that. I don't really have anything other than reminding everybody that my new website, ketogenicathlete.com, is up. I have a blog. If you're interested in getting some information and content from me on a regular basis, I write a blog every week. It gets published every Friday. You can subscribe to it. You'll get an email with the blog. Focused on ketogenic nutrition and physical performance, sports performance, athletic performance, understanding how being ketogenic helps your body work better. And all that kind of stuff. So it's my pseudo-scientific geek, not pseudoscience, but my pseudo outlet for the scientific information and geekiness that I'm in the process of developing.
In the process of developing?
Yes. Because
you haven't been a geek all these years?
I'm becoming more of a geek. I'm actually, guys, I can't even... the excitement that I get when I see an article or watch a video on general adaptation syndrome or an adaptation. What is that? I was just watching one today. It was on adaptation recovery. I forget what the S stands for. I gotta go look that up again. ARS is a process that goes with gas syndrome, whatever.
Just when my eyes glaze over. I'm like, give me the Cliff's Notes.
The physiological response to training adaptations. Yeah, all that stuff. I'm having a blast. I did decide that along with finishing my master's, and then I'm hoping by the end of the year, it depends on transcripts, but there's a session of the doctorate program that starts in October. I might not have my transcripts for my master's in time to submit for that, but if all works well, I could potentially start the doctorate program in October. Otherwise, I have to wait till like February. And you know how I am about it.
I know how you are.
I don't want to wait.
Doesn't want to wait for anything.
But in the meantime, I also decided as of yesterday, because I ordered the textbook, got a training program, I am going to be working on the National Strength and Conditioning Association's, which I found out is their premier certification, which makes me want to do it more. But it's right up the alley because it's a sports science certification. So it is not a certification like you think of a lot of personal training or strength and conditioning certifications where it's all about training and building muscle and exercise and nutrition, all kinds of stuff. It is hyper focused on the data and the analytics behind testing and assessment and how do you look at if I increase this protein, what's the result and how do we take that into the training program? It's like it's all of the stuff.
Tell them the name of it.
It is the Certified Performance and Sport Scientist certification. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited.
That's this guy. 100%.
I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun. So that's what I'm working on. Okay.
Also, there's another little thing happening this week.
Oh no. Oh, this week? This next week.
Today's Sunday, so it's this week.
This week, yeah.
I'm flying to Columbus, Ohio.
Your arms are going to be tired.
Look at that.
Your arms are going to be so tired. Okay.
My arms are already tired from accessory day. Flying to Columbus, Ohio for the Arnold Sports Festival, where I will be on stage in my newest creation, my new Angel Competition Bikinis creation for the ACB fashion show on the Arnold stage.
Nobody's seen it yet. Ooh, I've seen it.
We'll do a suit reveal at the Arnold. I will not be showing it before that.
Ooh, okay.
My ladies in the academy might get a sneak peek. I might drop them a little sneak peek. But
you should do it without you in it. Just the suit.
Yeah, just the suit. Exactly. So, but what I'm most excited about, I know I haven't tried it on for you yet in person.
What's wrong?
Maybe today.
Hello.
Because I need to try on the accessories that I purchased
Do I count as an accessory?
You are my lifelong accessory. But what I'm most excited about is that Mary Grace, my assistant coach, will actually be walking in the fashion show as well. And y'all, she looks incredible. She's really treated this like a mock prep for competition because she plans to compete this year. And so this was like a test run for her to practice posing. She's been with a posing coach twice a week. She's been sending me all the pictures and videos, updates of her posing. This is going to be her first time ever in a bikini on stage anywhere, and it's at the Arnold. Go big or go home, right?
Go big or go home. Get it.
So we're going to get her stage jitters out of the way, and then later this year we'll work on her first competition stage debut. So I'm really more living vicariously through her this weekend, next weekend.
Right.
My body is where it is. I'm not worried about trying to create any particular physique for this.
Yeah, it's hard to explain for anyone who's not ever coached. I guess teachers probably feel similarly. or maybe, I don't know, piano teachers or music teachers. If you're in a position where you're teaching and educating and you're trying to empower people,
mentoring,
to do something, and then you see them take the next step and go out there, and
it's a whole different feeling.
It's awesome. It is fantastic.
So,
absolutely.
My heart is full going into this weekend. I don't even care about myself. I'm like, I'm gonna go have fun, but it's really all about her. So. And
you have other ladies going?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be catching up and reconnecting with some of my girls. Tina Carlson is gonna be in. She's one of the squad leaders.
Okay.
Who else is gonna be there? I'm forgetting now. I feel bad. I think that's the only people walking though from our community, from our tribe. But we've got some ladies who are in the area. So anybody, if you're in the area of Columbus, Ohio, or if you're going to be hanging out at the Arnold, going to the expo or anything, shoot me a DM. Let me know. We're going to be getting together at least a dinner or something for the KBB community. So,
is the thing we're doing with Dr. Linskus live? Or is it going to be recorded? He's going to post it.
I don't know. I'm not sure. So it might be live.
I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll have to see. So keep an eye out. We're supposed to have a podcast episode of the Low Carb MD podcast with Dr. Brian Linskus on Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesday evening Eastern.
I don't know if it's live. If it's live, then just go there Tuesday evening. Once we get
7 p.m. I believe.
7 p.m. Eastern. Go there and you'll be able to see it on YouTube. If not, then we'll let you know when he's going to publish it on the podcast. But the focus is going to be us talking about what's going on in Arizona. So they're going to be speaking. He's going to be speaking in Arizona. We're going to be speaking in Arizona. Speaking, talking, attending. It's not like not like a conference. It's going to meet up. We're just going to get up and I'm not thinking about presentate like slides or anything. We just get up and talk.
We're going to chat like we do here.
Yeah, just going to get in and chat. So. So again, Low Carb MD on Tuesday evening. If it's live, if not, we'll let you know when it's coming out. But that leads us into what's going on in Arizona in a few weeks. Don't forget the Arizona, what is it?
Low Carb Collaborative.
Low Carb Collab. I do believe it is on Low Carb Events. Go check it out. And hopefully we get to see you there.
Excited about that too.
So today we're talking about the acronym KISS. In case anybody's ever heard it. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about keep it simple, stupid.
Sweetie.
Stupid.
Sweetie.
Stupid. I was taught it in the military and it was definitely stupid.
This is
keep
Gen
it simple,
X.
Stupid. This is millennial.
What would Gen Z call it?
Gen Z?
They'd probably say
keep it super simple.
But it's okay if you don't. But it's okay if you don't.
They wouldn't even put an identity.
They wouldn't even tell you what to do.
Yes. Keep it simple, stupid. Basically, the idea is
stop overcomplicating things.
Yeah.
So this one, shout out, because I got a lot of y'all in my tribe. My overthinkers of the world, my overanalyzers. This is for you.
Yes, and this presents itself in a lot of different ways, right? It's overthinking is one. You're making it more complicated in your head
than it really needs to be.
The other one is adding a bunch of things into your routine. You're trying to fit all of this stuff in because you have some weird expectation about
yourselves.
What it takes to do this, and you're doing all of these things that you probably don't need to be doing.
You're questioning and researching.
Not doing anything because you're spending all of this time trying
to find the best way rather than just finding a way to start.
There is no way. A way.
Yeah. Delaying action. A lot of delaying action.
Analysis paralysis.
Yep. And then when you are taking action, you're doing things, overcomplicating or overanalyzing whether or not it's working based on maybe looking at too much information or not enough information. But usually there's this like too much, like, well, my ketones and then my glucose and then my
What was that one
A1C, and
question
then
you saw in the group in that one group you were telling me about? Somebody asked about something with macros or something, and then they kind of went, their question expanded into glucose and insulin, and you were reading out of you had to look it up on your phone the other night in bed.
There's so many things. I don't even
It was
remember
like,
which
here's my
one.
question, and then not getting the answer anybody was giving her because they were talking about oxidative priority.
Oh, it was in one of the groups. It was
Yeah,
in
one of
the
the groups.
the discussion boards. Yes, the question was about if eating fat doesn't make us fat, then why? And this was in the Primal Health
That's what it
Coach
was.
community.
Yep.
So this is a person studying to become a Primal Health Coach. So she was quoting out of a chapter. If eating fat doesn't make us fat, then why? This paragraph from chapter 3, which is about if you're consuming carbs and alcohol in addition to fat, that the fat will
be stored.
be stored as fat. She's like, well, wait a minute, I thought it wasn't the fat that gets stored as fat. And then there was so many concepts that she had convoluted.
Yes, because then she started talking about insulin and
So many
glucose
things.
and all,
Yes.
conflating all of these things into this conversation. It was like, back up a second, let's talk about the basics.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
what this is about. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling like
yes.
there's so much you have to keep track of, one of the things to consider in this journey of self-awareness is, am I making it more complicated than it needs to be? There's a phrase that you guys have heard us say before. It's three words, not 3 letters, 3 words. Minimum effective dose. That's where your whole journey should be based on.
And I will add, if you really just looked at what you were currently doing, it would be blatantly obvious to you what the low-hanging fruit is. I just had a chat with a client the other day who deals with eating issues, we'll say disordered eating, and was asking questions about, can we change my macros because, we've brought her carbs up, and, I think I need to be carnivore, and, it was like, oh, her psoriasis is back, and just all these things, right? And I was just like, okay, let's take a step back, because I knew she was getting into some old disordered patterns with food. So I asked her to send me her food logs, because I was like, well, sure, we can change your macros, and sure, you could go carnivore, but do you really need to identify what the problem is?
Do I need to do X to see the result that I'm trying to find? In many cases, X isn't what you need, C is what you need. You got to jump all the way to the end of the alphabet.
and I've had conversations a lot this week and lately about food issues. So Monday night's masterclass, tomorrow night, I do a live masterclass for those that don't know on my YouTube every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow's is going to be all about your relationship with food. There's some specific things I want to get into there, because I think what happens is we enter into these diets, especially fad diets, and while I will say keto and carnivore are not fad diets, they can be based on the way that you are going about it. The way that you approach the diet is what makes it a fad or not. What is your mindset around doing this diet? If your thought process is, I can't control myself and I've eaten 10 Quest bars today, I need to go carnivore.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Then there's an issue that needs to be addressed. And so on tomorrow night, I'm going to talk more about
I'm sure you'll touch it tomorrow.
The relationship with food. But how it relates to this topic is the concept of, well, why are you saying you need to go carnivore? Let's take a step back. If you're having symptoms of an autoimmune flare-up or something like that, like a skin condition or something, let's look at what you're currently eating. I'll look at your food logs and I will quickly see the problem. And to be quite frank, to be honest, you would see the problem too if you just looked at your food logs and said, oh, I'm eating processed, packaged foods.
So this is the hard part. Because here's where the challenge comes in, is many times the reason things get complicated for you and the reason you're doing these crazy extreme changes is because you are not thinking logically and rationally. You are thinking and making your decisions based off of your emotions.
Yes. And when we're in our emotional brain, I call, we talk about the limbic brain all the time, the emotional survival brain. We don't want to address and we don't want to deal with the real problem, because the real problem gives us this resistance. It feels like this rock in your chest, or this what do you call?
Pit in your stomach.
Pit in your stomach. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to deal with the real problem. It's not a logical thought. You're not going to be able to logically think this way when you're in your emotional. It's like, oh, I got to cut my carbs more. I got to go carnivore because it's black and white. But it's like, why? Why are you attracted to that, right? There's probably something you really need to address without even having to do all of that. And it's, if you're currently, killing bags of Quest chips, going more keto and trying to fit the Quest chips into your macros, and then continuing to struggle with this binging on this junk, like that's the elephant in the room.
We're going off on a tangent, but that's okay. It's what we do.
But it's still related to keeping it simple.
One of the most common things that I see in people who are having this challenge of not being able to take the emotion out of it and doing the extreme is because in many cases there's a thought process that says, if it's not extreme, I can't do it.
Oh, you're like tugging at my heartstrings today. These are my favorite things to talk about.
I can't trust myself to make small changes. I have to make big changes. Otherwise, it won't like there's something about it's the same idea of, I'm going to pay for a gym membership because that's going to make me go to the gym.
Yep.
No, it's not. Right? Here's what happens, guys. And this is the catch. The dopamine hit of paying for the gym membership
makes you feel like you're doing
something and you don't do anything.
And you still won't do anything.
Telling everybody you're going to make this big change, telling your coach, this is what I want to do. I'm going to jump from A to Z, makes you feel like you're doing something different, but it's never going to work and it doesn't last.
Yes. It's that self-trust piece.
It's a huge piece of it.
Yep. I can't do it, so I need something extreme. Exactly. Yep. Woo! Okay, we can get into that tomorrow on the masterclass.
I just feel like I need to do
it. Yeah, I'm also going to talk about like the value system that we place on foods. Like, the big topic that came up in our feedback this week in the academy was this concept of value. Like when you're struggling with avoiding temptation, it is because you place a lot of value on that junk food. You're not looking at it as junk or garbage or poison to your body. You're looking at it as yummy and nostalgic and enjoyable, and you only have all these positive associations with it, and you're not focused on any of the negative associations of what it's doing to you when you eat that food. So it just continues to call to you, and you have a hard time not diving into it. Yeah. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. But let's get more back to the topic.
We'll go back into what you said before. You talked about low-hanging fruit. If you take a look at what you're doing, and are things being overcomplicated?
That's the first step of this simplicity.
We talk about low-hanging fruit, most of the time we're talking about looking at things that you can implement. What's the easiest thing that I can do? But I want to make sure everybody's thinking about that. That doesn't mean adding.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? It means the change that we can implement. What's the low-hanging change, whether that's an addition or a subtraction?
Yeah.
Okay?
I like that.
So it doesn't have to be I'm adding things in all the time. Sometimes you got to pull things back. Right? Look at me. Over the past several months, I've been pulling. Just yesterday, I spent hours tearing stuff off of my website and just pulling back. I'm focusing in on a certain bunch of things.
That you were doing that as I'm cleaning out my
all of
Google
your stuff
Drive.
To add everything, right? Yeah, you're cleaning out all your stuff.
We're purging.
We're purging yes. right now, and that's part of the process. What am I doing? What am I focusing on? Where am I putting my energy? And is it serving me?
Yeah.
Right? Because here's the deal. What is this whole process about?
Another decision I made the other day was to not compete in April.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? That's not working with my goals right now, with my focus right now. It's not where I need to be placing my energy, and it's not going to help me right now. And a lot of you think you need to join another challenge, and you need this more extreme thing, like we were saying, right? 75 hard, or these kinds of things are not adding to your ability to follow through with something, because now you're putting 5 other things on the list. What's the one thing?
Guys, that's me all day.
Yes.
That is,
yes.
I suffer from chronic overcommitment.
Well,
things.
You get excited about things.
And I have a habit of starting things because I'm excited about it and I think this is going to be amazing. And then I get into it and realize I don't have time for this. What am I doing?
What am I doing? I said I wasn't going to do anything else.
And then I got to put it to the side. So, and my commitment for this year is no new things, right? So I'm not,
Except you just got this textbook for this new program.
Well, no new as far as no, I'm not trying to build any businesses right now. I'm not trying to
it's all
cutting
aligned.
back on coaching.
Yes.
Everything that I'm doing is focused on my development for me.
This brings up a really good action step we can give people, or tip.
Yeah.
Right? You have to start with what is the vision.
Always what you want. Yeah.
We talked about a little bit at the beginning of the year, right? When you're looking at look at your next 12 months, look at your next 6 months or your next quarter and say, where am I trying to go?
Yeah.
What is my focus right now? Overarching focus. Because when you set a vision, like a longer term vision, then every decision you're making along the way, quarterly, monthly, weekly, about how am I going to organize my time? How am I going to focus my attention? Does this deserve my attention? The question is, what's the vision? Does it align with the greater vision? Does it align with where you said you wanted to go and what you said was your priority this year? Yeah. Because if it doesn't, it all starts to become very clear that is not what I need to be doing right now. So if you haven't set that vision first, and that's, now that I think about it, a lot of the people who struggle with this, with keeping it simple, don't have a clear vision.
They don't have a map, so they're just stopping everywhere they want. They all along the way.
The vision is murky. It's like, I want to lose weight. I want to get healthy. I want to get in shape. There's no definition. There's no explanation of what do you actually mean by that? Like, what does that actually look like for you?
And we don't talk about this enough. I talk about it in my book, in my last book, Body Confident. There's a whole worksheet on working on developing your vision. And to be clear, vision and why are 2 different things.
Yes.
Okay, when we talk about finding your why, the 7 levels of why, your why must make you cry, all those things, that is your emotional connection to the drive and the desire you have to get where you want to go.
So, the getting where you want to go.
Where do you want to go
is the vision.
What is it you're trying to do? What does your life look like? Who are you trying to be? What do you want or don't want in your life? That's the stuff, that's the practical. If I do this, here's what's going to happen. If I do this, this ain't going to happen.
And the why supports that.
Correct. So
because if you can't answer why that's your vision, that probably shouldn't be your vision.
Ooh. Babe, this is so timely. I saw this morning. I forget who the guy is. He's a high-level, high-performing coach, business coach. He said, he was telling a story about a client. He said he had a client who was businesswoman in her 40s, $4, $5, $6 million a year in business, doing fantastic, doing wonderful. And they were doing like an onboarding, and he actually said, where do we want to go? What are we trying to do? What's the vision? And she said, I want to do $100 million in the next 5 years.
Whew.
And he's like, okay, fantastic. That's possible. Why do you want to do it? And she said, because I want to tell all of the people that doubted me to go F themselves. I understand what that feeling is like.
You do.
And he said, okay, that's fantastic motivation. Do me a favor, Google how many women in their 40s are currently in the over $5 million a year category.
I think I know who you're talking about.
And she Googled it. It was like 0.02% of the world is where she was at right now. And he said, what are you waiting for? Go tell him now.
Woo!
I don't even know.
That just gave me shivers.
Right? Because the goal, if the goal isn't really relevant, no matter what story you're telling yourself in your head.
Well, you know what that was. And
right?
We can't ever do one of these without talking about the mindset, right? That was a I'm still not good enough yet.
Oh.
I can't tell them to shove it yet because I haven't reached the pinnacle of the pinnacle of the pinnacle.
Right.
And that is
of what I think success is.
Or what they will think is good enough to feel the fuck you.
Again, even then, it's what I think they'll think is good enough.
Right, yes,
because it's all still in my head.
Yes. And you know that feeling.
Right. Whether they're going to feel it or not, who knows?
Because
they don't care.
We recently had a conversation along these lines where I was
just going to bring that up.
I called him out, y'all.
Well, there's also another conversation we had where you were talking about. You showed me the video of, I forget what it was. The people who are driven to accomplish certain things don't see the level of success that they have.
Yes.
And to them, that level of success is like the bare minimum.
Yes, I did.
So they don't recognize where they really are.
Yep. Yeah, because their level of expectation for themselves is so much higher that they're not even using the same scale that other people use. Right. So it's exactly that concept of those people in her life, she probably doesn't even have to say it. They are already seeing it. They're already feeling it.
Yeah.
But she's still not feeling enough.
We could go on. Oh my God.
That's the core wound, by the way, y'all. If you ever wonder, I'll just answer the question for you for why you're in therapy, whatever.
For why you're in therapy.
Seriously, it's literally the core wound of all the traumas, all of the emotional ish that we work on in therapy. Like, it all comes down to, I'm not enough. Mm-hmm. And wherever that stemmed from, that's the core wound. So a lot of the time things come back to that. It's always going to come back to that.
Yeah.
And if we can heal that within ourselves, or at least work on it, because we may not ever be healed. This other thing came up too with one of my client check-ins or calls that I had this past week. And it was the mind-blowing concept that you don't have to heal all your trauma
to move forward,
to be able to change habits.
Woo! Oh boy.
Like binging, like whatever your emotional or food issues are, you can actually make progress on the habit change that you need without solving all of your emotional trauma.
Yes.
Because what ends up happening, same thing, and it's still so aligned with the topic. When we're overcomplicating things, it's a way of us putting distance between where we are and the action we need to take to get to our goals.
It's a distraction.
It's the procrastinating on the action. Other ways that I can procrastinate on taking action to this. Oh, well, I need to solve this emotional trauma wound before I can take action on changing this habit.
Yeah, the unspoken sentence. I want to try this because I won't have to face X if I do this instead. When the client contacts us and say, hey, what about this? And our first question is why? We know what the answer is.
Yep. We know there's something they don't want to deal with.
That's great. Yeah, it could do a whole bunch of things, but there's this thing over here that's kind of waving at you in the back of the room.
The same issue that's holding you back this whole
if
time.
You just look in that corner under the blanket, you might.
You don't have to look very far. It's actually a big pink elephant sitting right next to you on the couch, speaking of.
Yeah, and you put a blanket over it and it still doesn't cover it, right? Yeah.
Everybody can see the elephant except for you.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Okay,
so are we totally...
No. Okay,
it's all applicable, but...
Keeping it simple.
It all starts here.
The number one first tip is look at what you're currently doing and identify if you were, let's say you were going to have a discovery call with a coach. That first thing the coach is probably going to ask you, well, they're going to get some background information on you. And then they're probably going to say, all right, what is the greatest challenge you're having right now? Or it could be asked, this was on one of my, I think the primal health coach does this in the intake questionnaire, or NTP. What are the way they do it on NTP is about food. So it's like, what are the 3 healthiest foods that you eat, and why do you believe they're the 3 healthiest foods you eat? What are the 3 least healthy foods you're eating, and why do you believe they're the least healthy foods, right? So that's a good example of like a really practical thing you could look at is,
That's an obvious.
If you know, because most people know it's either diet or exercise that is lacking in their life. And that's usually the first 2 things that they look at trying to fix, and maybe not knowing how to fix it, or getting confused, or which program should I be following, or what macros are all that, right? So let's put all the other things aside, the sleep, the recovery, all the other stuff, the cortisol, all these other things, because stress management is a massive one. No, the real stuff, the stress management that people are not dealing with, right? But let's put all that aside and just say, okay, let's just look at nutrition and fitness, right? You usually know, and my clients will usually say, my diet's on point. I'm 100% all the time there. It's the training. I'm not motivated to train. I'm skipping my training. I'm not taking walks. I'm not active, Or they're like, my fitness is never a problem. I've been training for 25 years. I'm never going to skip a training day. I'm happy with that. All that's dialed in, but it's my diet. Right? So if somebody else were going to ask you, if a coach was going to ask you, what is the thing that's holding you back? What is the least healthy thing that you're doing, or the unhealthy thing that you're doing, or the thing that you're avoiding doing? Most of you can answer that question for yourselves.
And I want to answer it for some of them.
Okay, go for it.
Not asking for help. We talked about this at the beginning.
Well, especially if you don't know how to answer that question.
Especially.
If you can look at the foods you're eating, and look at your schedule, and look at how much activity you got the day before, and you don't know how to answer that question, honestly don't know. It's not that I'm sitting on my ass all day. It's not that I'm eating cookies uncontrollably.
Yeah.
I can't tell what I'm doing wrong.
Exactly. I get people all the time that contact me. Hey, I'm working out 4 days a week. I'm trying to do keto macros. I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm just not getting where I want to go. What's wrong? Like, what do I need to do? I'm like, number one,
I'm going to have a lot more questions.
Number one pro tip, asking those questions in a chat, on a call, on a Zoom, or a YouTube, or an Instagram
or
Live,
in the DMs, or on the
sending
comments,
a DM, or doing it in a comment on a post is great. You're going to get horrible advice because it's general. Okay, if you really want, and this goes for coaching, asking questions, long-term support, whatever, guys, if you really are looking for help and someone to help you figure out what's going to work for you, you're going to have to pay for it. Okay, get over that. If you're not willing to pay for it, if you're not willing to hire a coach, pay for a program, join a community where you're going to get personal information that is applied to specifically what is going on for you and your challenges, it's going to cost you something. The question is, why are you fighting that?
Ooh, and how long are you going to be swimming upstream? Paddling, or what is it?
Right?
Paddling in one place.
Paddling in one place.
Treading water.
There are so many people that I talk to that ask questions over and over and over through some social media platform. The minute I send them a link to say, hey, just set up a consult, never hear from them again.
And then maybe 2 years later, you get another DM
like,
with the same questions.
So, like, this is a.
And honestly, it breaks our hearts.
Guys, there's so much help that we want to give, and this is why we do these videos. This is why I have over 1,000 freaking videos on my YouTube. This is why I written books. This is why we speak at events, because we want to give as much of this stuff out as easily attainable as possible.
And we do so much of our content around how to apply your own context to things, because we know not everyone can afford coaching.
Right.
So if we can give you the, hey, here's how you think about it for you, because we can't answer every single logistical question for every single different human being in the world on these general videos. But what we can do,
or even in a social media response.
No, absolutely not.
On a post. Right?
And no coach who has spent years and y'all,
thousands
I was
of
gonna
dollars.
say, you're concerned about spending a couple $100 on a consult or a call or a month of coaching or whatever to get personalized advice. People like us, not just us, but probably anybody else who has serious education and experience behind them as coaches, have spent tens of thousands of dollars and hours over years of our lives studying, educating ourselves, reading, and coaching people in experience hours. And so that is what you're paying for. You're paying for expertise, for somebody who has been in the trenches with others, with countless individual, unique human beings, to where we can take our expertise, our education, our knowledge, our experience, and apply it to your situation for pennies compared to what we've paid to get all of this knowledge. Yeah. So maybe a question, maybe an action step to take. And this is something some of my ladies have shared this in the group. A lot of the ladies that come into the academy who had to find the money to become members, they have shared with other members, hey, here's what I did. I looked at my expenses and I said, what can go? Because I need this in my life. And they may have paid for it just for a program and then decided the value they were getting out of the membership was worth it for them to never leave. And they've been with me ever since. And those other things that they cut out of their lives to make room for this, they're not even thinking about it anymore.
Well, this is a whole nother aspect, right? What are your priorities? How are you complaining about not getting to your goals, not changing what you're doing, and then also not asking for help? You literally have a leak in your bathroom that is flooding your house.
That's a good analogy.
And you refuse to call a plumber.
That's it. That is a perfect analogy.
You're going in there every couple of weeks.
I don't want to call a professional.
Yeah, you're going in every couple of weeks and you put some plumbing tape on there, you tighten it up, you do whatever, and then you're good. And then it starts leaking again. You're like, oh, crap. And then,
how many hours of your own time are you spending trying to learn what somebody else has spent 10, 20 years of their lives learning and doing as a professional because you don't want to pay to have the professional come in and do it?
Yeah.
I take my car in when it needs servicing. I don't go on YouTube to learn how to become a mechanic so that I can fix it myself.
And there are some things you can do that way.
There are little things, yes.
And again, like she said, we try to make our content as available as possible, but also as empowering as possible.
Yes.
Much of what we talk about is intended to help you learn how to coach yourself. We do not want you to have to work with us for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh.
It's about freedom.
Yes.
But here's the thing. Some of you are thinking that you want to be free of coaching before you've gotten the coaching, right? You can't learn how to juggle without someone teaching you, right? And you're not going to go, hey, I'm learning how to juggle. Give me a chainsaw and a bowling ball and whatever else, a bowling pin, and I'm going to start juggling.
Hilarious.
I just decided to start today.
Yeah, seriously.
Right? I need to watch someone. I need to learn from someone. I need to spend time with other people that are doing it to make sure I'm doing it right.
How many more years are you going to spin your own wheels in the same place and you could have made progress and kept that progress and then continued to progress from there?
Yeah.
Had you just, the reason why I opened the Keto Bikini Academy is because I used to do only one-on-one coaching. And there was nowhere for them to go when they had 6 months with me And I taught them, I was there every step of the way holding their hand, and they were ready. They got what they needed, but they weren't ready to go 100% on their own yet. And now we have the academy where you can either join the academy and get what we do with private coaching, what we do for our private clients, but we're doing it in a group environment at a much lower price point. You can just join the academy and you can be independent while also getting help without the hand holding and all of that we do in private coaching. If you can afford private coaching, it's even better to do that for a while. And we have a lot of members who started out because they were private with me, and then they went into the community and they kept up on their own within the group and continued to get our support as coaches in the group, or they did the other way around. They joined the group, they did that for a while, they realized, you know what, I think I do need a little bit more extra help because I'm not taking full advantage of this. I'm not doing it to the best of my ability, or I'm doing the things, but I don't really know, like we were saying, if there's something I should be doing differently, if, now I want that extra hands-on help, then they might step up to private coaching for a little while and then go back to the group. So there's options for you all. It's not all like premium level coaching or nothing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You have some free programs they can download to start with.
Not anymore.
Oh, you took everything down.
Everything down
That's
yesterday.
Right.
The links are available, and I can get them to people if they want them, but they're not on the webpage anymore. But yes, I do have some free training programs and stuff.
with your books, if they get your books, it's all in there.
All of my books have free downloads, and the books specifically, the last
They're
book,
roadmaps.
the whole purpose of the last book that I wrote, Body Confident,
it's a roadmap
to give people a framework. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Start here. Work your way down. And
you talk specifically about how to apply your own context.
Yes.
So it's not a do carnivore. Here's step 1 to 10 to do carnivore. It's what do you need to think about first? What do you need to think about second? So you can create your own plan.
What are the things that if you need to make a change, how do you figure out what you should make a change, where you should change, and how much? All of that stuff is in there. That's why I wrote the book. Guys, the purpose of that book, the idea in my head when I first wrote it, when I first came up with the idea of writing it, and I started, initially it was going to be a book for coaches. It was going to be a book written specifically for health and fitness and nutrition coaches to provide a framework for them to use with their clients. And then I decided that was too specific. I needed to open it up because coaches can still use it as a framework, but now so can you.
Body Confident on Amazon.
Yeah. So, all right. So, gosh.
Want to learn how to keep it simple? Get his book.
Get my books.
Work through it.
Darn it. And leave a review. I need more reviews.
And if you need more help, reach out to me, not him.
To her. I'm not coaching anymore. Not right now.
Not right now. He's a student.
I am a student. That's weird to say at 52 years old. I mean, you should always be a student.
Yes,
but I'm actually a student.
But you are actually matriculating.
Oh, I'm matriculating.
Look at that. Wow. Word of the day.
I'm an articulate matriculating patriarch.
Oh God, don't do that. Don't cancel us. Oh, look at that. Christine dropped the link to the book. Thank you, love.
Thank you. All right. Well, I think we're good. I think we
keep it simple. Any quick fire things right at the end for keeping it simple?
No, just remember if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed, it's probably because you try to do too much.
Yep. And I will say the same thing I said, which is the summary is look at what you're already doing. It's likely you can find the answers to what to do next in there.
Or what to take out of and not to do next, not to do, right? Maybe I'm doing more, maybe I'm not doing enough, maybe.
Well, the next action you might need to take, I had this on a call the other day with a client, is inaction.
Let's do some examples.
Okay.
Because I want to talk about some examples of changes, right? Here's some simple things when you understand the context of what we're talking about. A lot of people take the idea, you need to prioritize protein. Okay, so now they're going to eat 250 grams of protein every day. This is too hard. I can't do it. I'm full. I'm not. Now I'm depressed because I'm not hitting my macro goals, and now
and I have to, and they change their fats too, because
they do
if
all
my
these things,
protein
right?
goes up, that means I have to take my fats down, and then where do I put my fats? And then they're
What if we take it a step back? Again, there's the extreme. What if we just take the step back and say, okay, am I still prioritizing protein if I simply eat my protein first? To make sure that I get it. That's an easy thing. It doesn't change anything about any calculations.
maybe I don't need to double the amount of protein.
I don't need to double the, like,
Yeah.
right? What's the small? Maybe I just add a half of whatever my protein is to a meal. So if I normally eat 2 eggs, today I'll eat 3. That's my goal. That's increasing my protein.
If I eat a 6-ounce burger,
I'll eat a 9
I'll
ounce
do
burger. I'll do 9 ounces
Yeah.
or 8 or something. Like add. I need to prioritize protein more. Okay, great. Here's another aspect of that. Maybe before you make any change, why do you think you need to prioritize
That's
protein
the
more?
question. That is the question
How
to
much
ask
are you
yourself.
getting now?
Well,
Are you trying to build muscle that you're not seeing that happen? Maybe you do need more protein because you haven't been able to gain.
or is it because you saw somebody's YouTube video about what they're doing and thought, now you need to do it for some reason?
Dr. Lyon looks so cool in her workout video talking about you need more protein. I should get more protein too, so I can look like her.
So-and-so's doing an egg fast. I should do that. Should I do that? Hey, coach, should I do that?
Right.
I don't know. What do you think?
Not even should I do that. Hey, coach, have you heard about egg fast? What do you think?
That's how it
goes,
plays
right?
out. What are your thoughts on fill in the blank?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How am I supposed to answer that?
Tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me why you brought it up.
Right. Why are you
Give me
interested
some
in
background. Drop me a link.
Yeah.
Maybe I've never heard of it before.
Yeah. So that's just a quick, simple example, guys. The change, the thought process, if you can take the emotion out of it, will often point you.
Why am I thinking about making this change?
Common sense solution for your problem. Cool?
Yep. I like that. All right. Keep it simple, y'all.
See you guys next week.
Give them a kiss. You didn't give them a kiss.